Hi cuties! I hope you guys are doing so well. So today I have some of MelodySusie's sweet scented plant-based gel nail polishes. I'm going to be trying out the Christmas collection, but I also have a couple other ones to try out as well. But I'm not just gonna do like a regular gel polish manicure. I am taking this opportunity to try to make a snow globe on my nail. I actually tried to do this 2 years ago and I made a couple pretty bad mistakes, and even though it looked pretty cute, I think I can do it so much better now. So in this video, I'm going to try to redeem myself by making an adorable snow globe on my nails. But of course, we're gonna need some super cute gel polishes to paint our nails so that we can put the snow globe on some adorable nails. And I'm also going to be opening and trying out this set from the same sweet scented plant-based collection. I've tried their plant-based gel polishes in the past, you guys probably have seen, but I'm especially excited about these because they have redesigned their bottles and it's like no gel polish bottle I've ever seen. So yeah, super excited about that. MelodySusie is also the sponsor of today's video, so thank you so much to MelodySusie for all of their support. You can use my code ANN12 to get 12% off anything on their website, and everything that I use will be linked down in my description box as usual. So let's get into the unboxing so we can do some epic nail art and snow globe nails, shall we? Let's go. So here are all the gel polishes from the Christmas collection. It also came with this little lanyard thing. I'm not too sure what exactly this is supposed to be used for, but the little clip thingy right here makes me believe that it's just kind of like a keychain, so you can have like a lanyard attached to your keys or something. And I do really like the pastel yellow and pink colorway of it. It reminds me of pink lemonade. And now this is the bottle that I was talking about. Look at this. It's made so that it can be just like straight up like this. But if you need it to like, because sometimes when I'm using my gels, I don't know if you notice, but I'll kind of do this thing like, I don't know, let me just show you with their previous bottles like this. I will, instead of just going straight up, sometimes if there's not a lot left in the bottle, I'll go like this to try to get more product from the bottom. But that can lead to your bottles accidentally falling over or tipping over. So they basically fixed that by adding in this product design where when you tip it, it automatically lands on the other like flat side. So you can literally keep it like that if that's easier for you to just like reach that way instead of up, you know? So that is so cool. That is the first time I've ever seen a gel polish bottle shaped like this, and I think it's just like so creative. Also, these little bottles remind me of golf balls, like the texture on them. It's very like, it's like the same material as the old ones. Like it's very soft and smooth still, but it has like a different texture to it, like a golf ball. Anyway, that's what I was really excited about. Also, the size that you get is so much bigger. You get 16.5 milliliters in each bottle instead of the original 10, which got kind of rubbed off here. But yeah, in the old plant-based collections, you would get 10 milliliters per color. And now this like upgraded one is 16 milliliters per bottle, which usually my full-size bottles have 15. So you get even more than that in here, which is really cool. And of course, MelodySusie has the most beautiful cat eye gels. I love their cat eye gels. So yeah, here's this one. Oh, let me smell it. Oh, dude, this one smells like rose. That actually smells good. That's so interesting. It's like, I feel like it's maybe just a tad bit stronger of a sweet smell than the previous ones, which were supposed to be aromatherapy gels, so like smell also sweet, but these ones smell a little tiny bit sweeter, I feel like. And it's just really nice to be able to have a gel polish that smells good so you don't feel like you're just like inhaling toxic fumes. I mean, you should always have ventilation when you're working with any sort of chemicals, nail products, no matter if they say they're plant-based or not, but yeah, it is nice they smell good instead of like giving you a major headache. I also noticed in the little paper that came in the box, there was some directions on the other side, and it said to apply 2 coats of each of the gel polish before you finish off with the top coat. So I think that these are really meant to be used in 2 coats. I'm just going to swatch these as 1 coat, and then off camera I'll do a second coat just so that you guys can see how they're meant to be in like the final swatch shot. These gel polishes also apply so smoothly. I love the brushes that they use on the MelodySusie gel polish bottles. They're so good, and it levels out really quickly and really nicely. It's a very like silky texture and not too much of like a sticky goopy texture. So it's not gonna like necessarily run all over the place into your cuticles, but it levels out so flawlessly, which I think is really important, especially if you're gonna use these as just 1 coat and not 2 coats. They also each have like a slightly different scent to them. They're not all the same. I wish that they put the scent on the bottle though, instead of just like kind of making us guess. The only thing is about like the scented part of it is I don't know if it's necessarily healthy to really just like continuously be in like sticking your nose right up to the gel polish and like inhaling it. I wouldn't recommend it, honestly. I actually did not end up putting a second layer because honestly, I really see no point in putting a second layer. These are so opaque with just 1 layer, and I don't really want to waste this gel polish by putting on a second coat for absolutely no reason when it obviously does not need one to begin with. I was mistaken. I misspoke when I said these are cat eye gels because they're not cat eye gels. They're just very beautiful, reflective, sparkly, glittery gels that are not magnetizable, if you know what I'm saying. I tested each of the sparkly ones to make sure that they weren't cat eye gels, and they definitely aren't cat eye gels, which even though I do love like the beautifulness of cat eye gels, sometimes it's really nice to just be able to use a sparkly gel and not have to fiddle around with the magnet so much to try to get it to look the way you want and for it to just look beautiful. So yeah, I love how these colors are all just like, these colors are very just classical Christmas, like classical vintage, warm, cozy Christmas, which I really love. So even though this is going to be a Christmas themed set, I am going to open up and swatch this other collection that they sent also, just in case there's colors in here that we can use too. I think I'm gonna have to say that this plant-based gel polish from MelodySusie, not only this collection, but the one that I've tried in the past with their previous packaging, has been my favorite consistency slash formula of gel polish that I've tried yet. Like, it is just so good. Like, truly, even the jelly colors, or the ones that are supposed to look more transparent, when you put on the first layer, you can actually like still see the color. Like, you don't need to put on a bunch of layers, and it just levels out so nicely. And everything that I was saying before, it just applies so well. I just really love this formula a lot. With the jelly gel polish, particularly in the past, with different brands that I've tried or formulas that I've tried, it's really hard to get it to not look streaky when it's a semi-transparent gel polish, but this one leveled out so well. It just looks so perfect. And it didn't take me like 3 minutes of waiting. It literally leveled out within 10 seconds. These colors are so beautiful. I was doing the swatching on this little swatch round that I'd done a couple swatches on previously. So I just like took those other swatches off and I had to put this one over here instead of over there. Whatever, it's fine. These colors are just like the perfect like nude slash like classy soft colors. You know what I'm saying? Like they're just so perfect, like the perfect reddish pink nude palette. So beautiful. I'm absolutely obsessed with the pinks and the reds. I honestly don't really use nude colors like that very often, but it does look like just like the perfect like toasted marshmallow color or something. And again, these are all just one layer, so no second layer added. Absolutely beautiful and opaque and smooth. Literally amazing. Also, side note, I just had to share this with you guys because it's so cute. I got this coffee from this little like family owned coffee shop that opened near where I live, and look at the straw. The straw is literally in the shape of a heart. Like what the heck? That is so adorable. It's just little details like that that just make me so happy. Support your locally owned coffee shops, guys. So yeah, let's get on with the nail art, shall we? If you saw me make the snow globe the first time, then you'll probably recognize these little fake silicone decorative grapes. I watched a video and I will link it down below. It's the same video that I watched before when I did it, and she used these little grapes and it worked perfectly last time. So I'm gonna stick with using these. I just got them from Michael's in like the fake flower section, and I really love these ones specifically because they have some small grapes and some big grapes, and like I feel like this big grape is the perfect size for like a big snow globe, and the little grape is a perfect size for a smaller snow globe. So my goal today is going to be to make 2 snow globes, since that's like the main thing. So they're super easy to take off. You kind of just pull them off like so. And then I also already pulled off a bigger one. So we're gonna make a big snow globe and a little snow globe, and I'm gonna start with the big one. Of course, I'm gonna start by just cleaning off the surface. And to make the snow globe, I'm gonna try using this builder gel from MelodySusie. Actually, let me make sure that this is clear first. Yeah, this is the clear one. Last time I used a clear builder gel in a pot and I like dipped it in, but I think it'll be easier if I can just like paint onto the grape. So that's what I'm gonna try. What I'm gonna do is I have these pliers here and I'm just going to pop the grape on there like that. That makes it so easy to hold onto it. And then literally I'm just going to, okay, wait. First of all, I'm going to put down a dental bib like I do when I do acrylic, because if anything drips, I want it to drip on here and not my glass. All right, so now I'm literally just going to paint the entire little grape. Not all the way down to the opening though, kind of like just until like the very bottom, because I need to be able to stick like my little snow globe art into it. So definitely don't want to make the opening too tiny. Okay, I noticed the gel is kind of like separating in some places and not wanting to kind of just like smoothly cover the entire surface. That might just be because of the surface of the little grape. So what I'm gonna do is, now that I have like the first layer completely covered, I'm going to cure it. So I'm first just gonna cure it with my little handheld one, just to give it a flash cure. And then I'm gonna take out my little UV protection lamp and I'm gonna stick it into this little finger cave right here for a full cure. All right, and now that should be fully hard, but I'm definitely not gonna pop it off yet. So now that there's that first layer on there, I'm going to put a second layer to build up the thickness, and also the gel should level out so much easier and stick so much easier onto like that first layer of gel than it was on the like grape itself. It might have also been because I put some like cuticle oil on my hands before I started doing this, and I kind of forgot about it, and then I touched the grape even after I wiped it with the isopropyl alcohol, and I think some of that like oily surface was causing the gel to like separate on top of it. But yeah, this is definitely so much easier than dipping it in the pot. And I'm just kind of going to put like a little extra on the very top so that it kind of just like maybe flows down. And I don't want the top to be too thin because the product does naturally just start flowing down because of gravity, you know, that pesky gravity. And, you know, something that can also help with that is if I just hold it upside down for a little bit. All right, and then I'm gonna give that a cure and a full cure. So I actually quickly just did one more layer for good measure, and I accidentally like set it down inside the UV LED lamp instead of holding it because I got lazy, and yeah, that happened. But I think that we are gonna be able to fix that by filing, so I'm not gonna let this whole thing go to waste. I'm going to take it off of here and wipe everything with some isopropyl alcohol to get rid of the sticky layer. I think just like squeezing and twisting should be able to do it without breaking. Got it. Okay. Yeah, you really got to get in there and like squeeze and twist. So yeah, here we have it. It does look like it kind of took some of the yellowish color of the grape with it, which is not good, but let me see if I can somehow like clean it out with some isopropyl alcohol. Yeah, it's definitely got a little bit of a yellowish tint to it, but I don't think that's gonna like make or break anything, if you know what I mean. What I'm gonna do, which is like a big part that I did not do last time but I realized is essential, is apply a top coat to the inside of this little sphere. Since the surface of this little grape is like very matte and soft, that's like the surface of the inside of this is also matte, which is going to cause everything that you see through it to be kind of blurry and soft instead of clear. So I'm just going to take this glossy top coat, which is non-stick. You definitely want it to be non-stick so that the glitters and stuff don't stick to it. If you've ever done aquarium nails, you kind of just want to think along the same lines as if you're just doing like an aquarium nail tank. So you want the inside of the tank to be as clear and not sticky as possible. I wonder if I could have used some acetone to wipe off the color of the grape before I used it. Okay, I think that already looks a bit better. So I'm gonna give that a cure. I'm gonna pop it in here. It's like a little fish bowl. Oh my goodness, I just realized you could totally use the same process to make a fish bowl on a nail. That would be so cute. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna have to do that. Not today, but someday. And I'm definitely going to eventually put a top coat on the outside, but I think I'm gonna wait to do that. Well, first things first, I'm gonna do some filing on this. So just real quick, using my sanding band, I'm gonna file that little piece that I messed up and then try to make the opening of the circle a little bit more clean, and then use my buffer to just smooth out the entire surface, which the surface is already pretty smooth. Like, that's what I love about MelodySusie products, is usually they level out really well. All right, I'm gonna actually take this to my bathroom and wash it out with some warm water. And now I'm going to hold it again with these pliers. The pliers are just gonna be open this time instead of closed. And I'm going to put a top coat on the entire outside. It is pretty satisfying to paint this little orb though. Dude, you could also like make a really epic looking jellyfish charm using this technique, but just like, I don't know, make it into a keychain or something. Okay, so I completely cured it. I think that this is as clear as I'm going to get it, and I think it'll look better when it's actually filled with the liquid. And like, look, you can see that. You can see that through there, so it might look a little derpy, but it adds to the character, guys. It adds to the character. So we're going with it. Also, this is going to be like massive. Don't worry, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be amazing. I'm actually just going to quickly repeat that exact same process with one of these little tiny grapes so that we can have our second globe ready. But I'm just gonna do that off camera really quick since you guys just saw me do the entire thing. So I have my two little globes now. And actually, this one started off being easier to make than the big one because I kind of knew what I was doing. And then when I was trying to remove the grape, it cracked and I didn't want to have to start all over, so I kind of just patched it up and filed it and just did everything the same as the other one. It just took a little bit longer. So yeah, I feel like I'm doing this pretty slow because I'm kind of scared to get to the part where I like sculpt out the inside because I don't want it to take absolutely forever, but I know it's gonna be really, really cute when I do it. So let's continue on. So here are some references of snow globes. You can see that the snow globes, they have like a base on them, and then they have the little globe part, right? And then in the globe part, there's like the cute little statue with all the glitters and stuff. So I'm doing these on my natural nail length, and if I have to like chop off the snow globe and file like the entire thing off, I'm gonna be really sad. So actually, I'm going to be trying to make the globe part, at least, where I'm gonna have the little character and everything, magnetic. So I have these little magnets, and basically my idea is to sculpt the base of the snow globe around one of the magnets, and then have the other magnet be like underneath on the bottom of the snow globe, so that the snow globe, like the big globe part itself, can kind of just magnetize on and off of the nail. Also, because it's probably not very, you know, realistic to go around with such a giant globe on your little nail. So you can easily pop it off if you need to do something and then put it back on. That's my idea. Anyway, let's start with the big snow globe. I'm gonna work on top of one of these like transparent sticky notes because they act like disposable palettes and stuff can easily peel off of them after I cure it. You know how like when you do aquarium nails, you make the top of the aquarium nail and then you kind of like glue it onto the opening? That's what I'm gonna do with these snow globes, or at least that's what I'm gonna try to do with the snow globes. So basically, I'm going to create the base or the closure of the snow globe on here with the magnet inside of it. And then on top of the base, I'm gonna sculpt out the little character that I wanna be inside of the snow globe. And then I'm going to attach them. And somewhere along the way, before we attach them, we're gonna fill this thing with glitter and oil. So it's kind of like the same process as if we were doing an aquarium nail. I don't know, I feel like I always just have to like explain my plan before we actually get into it, but let's do it. Again, I'm going to use the builder gel, and I'm just going to put a nice layer of it on here. I want to make sure that it is big enough for this. It's absolutely big enough. I'm literally just going to drop the magnet inside of it like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to plop this on here like this, so I make sure the magnet is kind of like in the center of the globe. And I'm just gonna take a brush with some isopropyl alcohol and try to like clean up most of the excess around the side, just so that I make sure that I'm sculpting everything in the center and the snow globe doesn't end up being like really wonky. So before I cure it, I'm gonna take this out and I'm gonna cure it. I feel like this is like a little crafting project. Like we're not even doing nails at this point, we're just crafting. That's like the reason I like doing my nails so much, is because it's basically crafting. That's honestly why I fell in love with it. And now I'm going to put another layer all around here. Try to keep it just on the part that I already cured. And again, before I cure anything, I'm going to make sure this is centered, and I'm going to clean it up. And then of course, before I cure it, I'm gonna take this off and I'm gonna cure it. And don't worry, I'm gonna cover up this little magnet part on the top with like white gel or white clay gel and make it look like snow. So there's not gonna be that. Anyway, I'm gonna stick it into here to really fully cure for sure. Kind of get rid of the stickiness and also hopefully help it loosen up from the sticky note a bit. Yes! Perfect. That's perfect. Okay. Just gonna make sure. Yep. I could definitely leave all like the extra pieces that are like hanging off, but I'm just gonna clip off a majority of them. I don't want to clip off too much though, because it's going to be way easier to file off the extra pieces after I've filled it and closed up the globe than it is going to be if there's not enough gel or like surface to close up the globe, and then there's like ends up being a little hole where liquid's leaking out and it'll be like a whole mess. So I'm just going to gently try to remove the really thin pieces that were just a result from me trying to like clean up the edges. I want it to be a lot bigger than the actual globe because it's so much easier to file down than it is if there's like holes, like I was saying. So yes. All right, so I'm done with all of the builder gel for the most part right now. I need some sort of way to know when I am sculpting directly on here that I'm not sculpting like outside of the bulb, if you know what I mean. So I think I figured out a way that I can do that. And it's super simple. So I'm just going to use any of my gel polish colors. So I'll just use this pink one. I'm going to put it on the rim of the globe. Don't worry, I'm not going to cure it on here. And then back over here to the little cap piece, I'm going to put it, oh no. Oh, that wasn't really perfect, was it? Okay. I'm gonna have to be really precise with this if I want it to work. So I'm gonna like line this up like that. I'm gonna take this off. And now I have like a very rough kind of like guideline of where the edges of the dome are. So I need to stay inside of those little marks. So since I'm going to be putting like stuff on top, it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna cure this. We're not gonna be able to see those marks after I do all of like the nail art. And I'm gonna make sure to clean this thing off. So I'm just going to start with this one before I do the same thing to the other one, just so we can make sure that it actually works. And to do the sculpting, I'm going to be using Crisania's 3D sculpting gel, which I am now kind of obsessed with. So we're going to use the white, like I said, to make it look like snow. And look at this. Isn't like this the perfect texture? This is going to be so easy. All right. Hopefully I did not speak too soon, but I'm going to get some of this. Not too much. That should be good. And I'm going to put it on here. Oh, this tool is wanting to stick to the magnet. Okay. I think I'm going to need just a little bit more. Okay, maybe a tiny bit more. Just to make sure that the whole thing is like opaquely covered. So I'm just going to kind of pat that around and stay within those little lines that I made. Okay, I'm going to switch to my brush. I'm also going to use a bit of the 3D blending gel. Over here, dip my brush in that, and then continue molding out this little snow. You'd probably use like some putty or something to hold it down, but this is working for now, so it's fine. Okay, let me just make sure that that's gonna be fine. Yep, that should be great. All right. So I'm just gonna flatten it out on top to make sure I have a base to make my little character, and cure. So I'm zoomed in as close as possible, so hopefully you guys are going to be able to see everything that I'm doing. I want to create like a Winnie the Pooh style bear. I don't want to say Winnie the Pooh himself because I don't know if he's going to look exactly like Winnie the Pooh, but I want to create a little yellow bear. So I'm going to use this banana pudding color from Crisania's Pastel 3D Sculpting Gel Collection. And I'm gonna try to make it like he's just sitting down in the snow. Like, you know, Winnie the Pooh would do. Just chill in the snow. I have this really adorable book. I don't know if I've showed you guys before, but I think it's called like A Journey of Mindfulness or something with Winnie the Pooh. And reading that book actually helped me so much because I really struggled this past year with just always being stressed out and thinking of a million different things and like not being in the present and just always feeling like what's the next thing that I need to do after what I'm currently doing. But like reading that book with Winnie the Pooh really helped me to learn how to be more mindful and stay in the present and just like where I'm at in the moment, you know, which I feel like is something that's really hard for a lot of us probably nowadays because of just like how fast-paced society is, especially with like social media. Everything is like be as productive as you can be or you're lazy, basically. At least like in America, that's kind of the feeling that I get, which really doesn't help me to be mindful at all and just helps me to be stressed out literally every single waking hour of the day and have nightmares as well. So even when I'm sleeping, I'm stressed. No, but recently, like this year, I really wanted to work on being more mindful and just like chilling out, calming down, and just like not putting so much pressure on myself, not having so many goals for myself and beating myself up and stuff like that. And I really do think that I'm doing so much better now. Like I really did grow a lot in that regard this year. I'm definitely not necessarily where I want to be, and I've still got a lot more growing to do, but I think that like this year I really saw some progress, some real progress, which I'm really happy about, and I want to just keep building on. And that Winnie the Pooh book really helped me. So, unsponsored, I will link it in the description box. I got it from Barnes & Nobles because I want to support Barnes & Nobles because I never want them to go out of business because everybody buys their books online. Because I love going into Barnes & Nobles and just like smelling all the books and looking at the books and just being in the presence of books. Okay, before I go any further and cure anything, I'm kind of terrified that this is going to be too big to fit in our globe. And I've spent a long time on this guy, so I really hope he fits. He fits. OMG, he fits! Guys, he fits. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay, hold up. I'm going to be getting really close like this for a couple seconds to try to clean them up a little bit, and you guys can barely even tell what I'm doing anyway because of this angle, but I'll be right back. I cured the little main base of the bear, so here's what he's looking like. I know the thing about Winnie the Pooh is that he's a little chubby, you know, because he loves eating honey, so I tried to make him just look like chilling in the snow with his little bear belly. So cute, but I definitely do want to fix up a couple things, so I'm just gonna do that really quick. I want to add a little bit of a snoot to his face, and then also there's a couple places that just look kind of, I don't know, like scratchy, like his leg and stuff, so I just want to add a little bit more clay there and just smooth everything out a bit. Definitely doesn't have to be perfect, but I can't help myself. I want it to be as perfect as it can be. Here he is. Oh my goodness. Like look at the cat that I sculpted last time that I felt was super tiny and like a huge achievement for how small I sculpted it. And look at this little Winnie the Pooh bear. Like what the? Oh my goodness, it's so cute. I'm so proud of myself. Okay, hopefully I can do a cute little face on it now. I'm gonna be using Christania's Pat Art Gel. Like the perfect gel painting palette, and you can use it also for stamping and ombre and everything. So I am going to use the brown. Since I'm going to be using it to do a little bit of painting though, I'm going to use the darker brown. I only need a teeny tiny bit of it, a little bit of the brown, and I'm going to mix it with my base coat. You can also mix it with top coat, but I just like mixing base coat, I guess. And I'm going to kind of mix that up. Colors are super opaque and like super duper saturated. And now I'm gonna use this teeny tiny little brush. I'm gonna do a little nose on the snoot. I'm gonna cure the nose. Okay, and then for the eyes, I mixed a little bit of the black with some base gel. I'm gonna dip the circle end of my wooden cuticle pusher in there. Oh, I feel like this is gonna even be too big, honestly, but let's just see. Are you ever just concentrating so hard and trying to be so steady that you can like only hear your heartbeat? That's how I was feeling while I was trying to do that face. But I think it turned out so cute. And now the last thing is to give him his little red t-shirt, because Winnie the Pooh cannot be identified as Winnie the Pooh without that little red t-shirt. It is just absolutely necessary. And if it isn't obvious already, every time I use these gels in the Pat Art Gel collection for painting of any kind, I am mixing it with a little bit of base coat just so it glides a little bit easier. Because otherwise it has a pretty sticky texture that wants to leave behind little strings, like it's almost stringy when you try to draw with it. But that specific texture makes it really great for creating the sponge ombres and also for stamping as a stamping gel. Okay, oh my goodness, you guys, I think that my little Winnie the Pooh is complete. That took me forever. Anyway, I think I kind of actually like the look of the little bit of texture because it makes it look like I actually sculpted him out. So look at his little side view. So cute. Oh, I cannot believe that I just made him, guys. Like, what? Actually, I think I need to go get a quarter for reference. Here is the American quarter, and here is my little Winnie the Pooh sculpture. How insane is that? That's crazy. I can't believe I was able to sculpt him so small. Like, literally, look at that. That's so funny. That's crazy. That's crazy. All right, I think we get the point. I think he's tiny. He's teeny, teeny, tiny. So time to put him inside his little winter wonderland. And once I put him in there, there's still gonna be a little hole for me to stick a syringe in and add in the oil. So what I'm gonna do is first I'm going to fill this with all of the glitters that I want to use. So I really don't want to pack this in too much because I want you to be able to see Winnie the Pooh. Like, I want him to be the center of attention, and I just want there to be kind of like a sparkle. So I don't think I'm actually going to use any of these big snowflakes for this one. Maybe I'll use it for the smaller one, and I will just like sculpt some like a little tiny snowman like I did the first time. I think we're just going to keep this one simple. All right, so let's just fill her up. So I'm going to start with a little bit of this stuff. Again, not too much. And then truly just a couple of these. And then maybe like 2 or 3 of those little crystals. I don't know. Does that look like enough glitter to you? What I'm going to do is I'm going to put him in upside down like this, basically. Super easy. To do that, I'm going to use my Ivy Fix Gel because it cures completely non-stick. So I know that the glitters and everything inside aren't just going to stick to it. They're going to like stay loose and floating around the globe, which is what we want. So I'm just going to get a bit of this and line the whole rim with it, trying not to get it on the inside. Should have probably used a smaller brush, but whatever. And obviously that's not too much. It's just enough to like secure it in place so that I can fill it with the oil and then actually secure it. Let's put him in there. And I'm going to cure that. Okay, so before I seal up any more, you can see there's a little opening, or can you see? I don't know, but there is a little opening over here. Also, sorry, my hands are getting kind of dirty. Anyway, I'm gonna add in the baby oil using this little syringe into this little opening right here before we close it up any further. Last time I did this, I made the grave error of using isopropyl alcohol, and it literally like disintegrated the gel and made it look super foggy inside. Since there's not that much left and it's not wanting to come out, I'm going to pour it into this little dish so it's like much easier to syringe out of there. There we go. Now for the moment of truth. It needs more. It needs more. I think that might be perfect. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try my best to wipe this area I need to seal it up with some isopropyl alcohol because obviously gel does not stick to oily surfaces. And then just like I've done for my aquarium nails in the past, I'm literally just going to like gloop on the gel to this little opening, and I'm literally just going to cure as I go. And it seems like the gel is actually leaking out from a different side too, so I really need to just close up the whole thing. Okay, so I tried to seal everything off to the best of my ability, and it's kind of frustrating me because one, there's this bubble in it that whenever I hold it, it's just like right in front of his face or wherever I'm trying to look, which is really annoying. And then 2, I feel like the bubble is getting bigger. Like I feel like there's other little teeny tiny bubbles that keep coming out. So I don't know if that means there's somewhere where it's leaking from or if there's just like air that's trapped in the corners. Here's what it looks like when I shake it up. It would have been so cute if it actually looked good. And also it's lopsided, and I literally put him in there the wrong way. Like his head should be up here and he should be leaning down the other way, but I really want to fix how it looks so lopsided, but then like this bubble is just growing and being really annoying, and I feel like what's the point? So I might just put this guy to the side for now and say that this was like a really great try at sculpting and like really good practice sculpting. I think I might just create something super simple and put it in this little globe so that I can still have like one globe on my nail, you know? For now, I think I'm just gonna start by doing some nail art on my nails. Right now, I just have my hard gel layer on, and I also put on a sparkly top coat just for the time being so that they looked pretty during this video. So before I put on any of the new gel polishes, I'm going to just quickly buff the top coat to make sure that all of the gel polish and stuff sticks, because sometimes if you apply a gel polish onto a top coat, a glossy top coat specifically, it can start peeling off because it needs that like rough surface to attach to. Okay, so to my horror, when I added these next clips into Premiere Pro, I realized that my microphone had malfunctioned for the rest of my filming for this video, and so all of the audio is gone, and the rest of this video is just going to be with the voiceover, so hopefully that's okay. So after I had finished this little Winnie the Pooh snow globe, I was feeling so discouraged because of how hard I worked on it, and it still didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. Like, I literally spent hours on this little snow globe, you guys, and so it's actually the next morning now, and I decided I'm just going to make a simpler version of what I was trying to do with the Winnie the Pooh, but in the little smaller sphere that we made, because I just really don't want to give up on this idea of making this magnet snow globe, so we're gonna do it. We're not letting that stop us. So first, I'm actually going to sand the edge, like the open edge of it, to be completely flat, because I found that with the Winnie the Pooh one, I didn't do that. And so like the free edge of the little globe where I had to seal it was really uneven and jaggedy, which made it a lot harder to seal off completely. So I made sure to make it completely smooth. I also decided that I'd done enough sculpting for this video. I was really just burnt out of sculpting after doing the Winnie the Pooh and it not working out. So I figured we could still make it super duper cute by using these little clay pieces that I got in like my Christmas nail supplies haul with the little penguins. Like, look how adorable these little penguins in snowflake little things are. So I'm just gonna pop in one of the little penguins and a couple of the little snowflakes. Not too much because I want them to be able to move around. And then I'm going to add in that same fairy dust glitter that I used before because I just love adding this to everything. It makes it so sparkly and reflective and iridescent. And I learned from that first attempt that really you kind of have to pack it with glitter for it to look super sparkly, because I could barely even tell the glitters once the oil was in the globe. So I'm also putting some of these holographic stars. And look at how cute he looks snuggled up in there with all of the glittery snow and stars. Is so adorable. So now that I've got all of the filling in there, I'm just going to fill it up with the baby oil like I did for the other one. But I think I'm going to leave a little bit of extra room this time just to make sure that really no baby oil is getting on like the rim of the globe so that it seals properly. And also to make sure that no baby oil is on there, I'm just taking a little Q-tip dipped in isopropyl alcohol to clean off any residue. And now we can seal it up using the little magnet cover thingy that I made before. So I'm just doing the same process with the Ivy Fix Gel, and also I'm going to be putting the little seal thing with the flat side down, because in my previous attempt I did not do that, and that made it a lot harder to completely seal the globe and not have any leakage. And I was like really struggling with that last time, and that's one of the things that led to there being a lot of bubbles and just me giving up. I think it could use maybe a little bit more oil, but I also think that it's not a big deal and it looks really, really cute. And of course, I'm just gonna carefully file off all of that little excess around like the disc. And look at the little penguin. Oh my goodness, you can see him so perfectly in the globe. I feel like a lot of that yellowish color, yellowish stain kind of came off. But anyway, now I'm just gonna take this little cuticle bit on a very low speed. I think I was using it at like speed 3 or 4. and I am very, very carefully and slowly filing off the excess of that little sealer thingy around the edges. But again, just being super careful that I am not filing too much as to create any holes where the oil can start leaking out, because I would much rather it look a little extra bulky and a little extra wonky because it's handmade than for the oil to just like slowly start leaking out as I go about my daily business. That really is like my biggest pet peeve. So after each filing session on this little globe, I just go ahead and wash it in the sink with some water and dry it off as best as I can. And I decided I want to put another top coat over the entire thing just to really ease my mind that everything is properly sealed up and I didn't create any microscopic holes. So I decided to use glitter top coat. Who's surprised? Probably no one. If you're new here, maybe, but I literally use glitter top coat all the time. What is the harm in adding extra glitter and sparkle? And I didn't think it was going to really affect how well you could see the stuff inside, but it would just add another dimension of glitter. So I'm just flash curing it so that when I put it into the lamp, it doesn't start seeping onto one side, or I don't accidentally hit it on the walls of the lamp and stuff like that. And then I'm popping it into the full lamp for a full 60-second cure. And look at this little adorable magical winter wonderland orb that I have created. I'm literally obsessed with it. It is so adorable, and I'm so glad that my first failure did not hold me back from trying again. And that's really why I like to keep all of my mishaps and failures in my video as well, so that you guys can see like the real process of trial and error, and that things usually don't go perfectly the first time. But anyway, now it's time to make the base of the snow globe, which is going to be what I actually glue onto my nail. My original idea was to use the Cris clay and like sculpt around the magnet to make a little base, but I decided that using this chain of rhinestones would actually be so much easier and also so adorable. And to my surprise, they literally just started perfectly magnetizing to the magnet that was going to be used as the base. And I was like astonished at how well it was working, because I am not used to things working that well, guys. But literally, like, it magnetized on there perfectly. And then of course I was gonna go back in with a second row of the cord as well, the rhinestone cord, if you will. On top of that one, you can see I'm pointing to it here. I want to completely cover like that magnet that's popping out from underneath the little globe. But before I could do that, I first have to glue this one onto the magnet, because there's no way it is staying on the magnet like that by itself. So I just clipped the excess of the chain off and then made sure that it was super flat and just like perfectly on the magnet where I wanted, which was super easy to do because it was already like stuck to the magnet. And then I just took my little brush with some Ivy Fix Gel, and I put the Ivy Fix Gel all over the bottom of the magnet and on the chain to kind of like connect the chain to the magnet with the glue. That is the Ivy Fix Gel. There was no way that I was going to take off the chain and then try to put the glue on and then try to re-magnetize it in the same place. I feel like it would have gotten so messy. And this time around, I'm definitely trying to work smarter and not harder and make things a little bit easier for myself. So I just gave that a flash cure. And then I'm going in with the second row of the rhinestone chain, which also magnetized on super easily. I think that the magnet that is underneath the globe was also really helping it to stick on like that. So I was kind of afraid to try to remove the magnet from the bottom of the globe in order to glue it on, especially because I wanted it to be like this, where it was also covering the magnet of the snow globe. So I decided to just leave it on there and just like carefully and meticulously place the Ivy Fix Gel, just kind of connecting the two rows of the chain together. So not actually putting any of the Ivy Fix Gel on the magnet or the globe itself this time around, but literally just like putting it between the two chains to make sure that they were just like cemented together. Sometimes when I'm sticking something so small into the lamp to get cured, the motion sensor will go off as soon as I take my finger out, so I just have to like leave my finger in there while it's curing so that it stays on. But yeah, that was the final cure for our snow globe. So this little snow globe is officially complete, and now the moment of truth is to see if this magnet works. And And it does. Oh my goodness, I was so excited when this finally worked. Like, I feel like the failure that I had in like the beginning of this video, like literally the entire video at the beginning was just ended up being a failure, but it made this success so much sweeter. So I was so happy with this little snow globe, and I think the rhinestone chain actually was such a perfect way to make the base. So now that we have our snow globe done, it's time to actually use these new gel polishes to do some nail art on my nails so we have some pretty nails to put it on. And I was kind of conflicted between whether to use this like silvery color and then do red and green alternating French tips. Or I also had this other idea where I could use a red and green glittery alternating base and then use the solid red and green to do like opposite French tips. But I ended up just going with the silver gel polish and like my original idea. I love this silvery gel polish so much. It's almost like not silver. It's silver, but it's like goldish silver. And also it doesn't only have like silver and gold reflections in it. It has like little almost like diamond shimmer dust glitters in it that are iridescent, not just silver, which I love. So I'm just putting one layer of this on all of my nails. Also, more often than not, even if I'm just using like a more not runny gel polish, I will clean up the edges with a wooden cuticle pusher just to make extra sure that nothing is touching my skin. And I flash cure them each for 10 to 15 seconds as I go, just because I'm scared that while I'm working on the other ones, I'm gonna be clumsy and accidentally touch the wet gel. So I just wanna make sure that it is firm enough or just cured enough that it's not going to get messed up if I accidentally do that. But then of course I do give them a full 60-second cure at the very end. And then, like I was telling you, I'm going to be doing just like solid red and green alternating French tips. But I'm trying this new hack this time that I saw, I think on like YouTube Shorts or something, where you take a half cover tip, or I think I also saw somebody use a half cover dual form, and you paint the underside of it with the wet gel, and then without curing it, you kind of like use it to stamp the curve of the French tip onto the nail. I wanted to try it out this time because literally doing French tips with my opposite hand is like the bane of my existence. It takes me so long, and it didn't work out perfectly, obviously, and I still had to do a lot of cleaning up with my liner brush. But I do feel like it kind of created like a solid start to what I was working on. And then I was able to kind of just like sculpt out the rest of the French tip, like cleaning up the lines and stuff, instead of just having to completely freehand it. So even though I did end up having to do a lot of work by hand, I felt like it did save me enough time and make it a little bit easier so that I just wanted to use it on all of them. So here's how the nail art looked just with the French tips, and I actually think that this is such a pretty manicure just to have like this by itself. I could have put a regular top coat or even a glittery top coat on this and it would have been absolutely gorgeous, and you could probably wear this for Christmas and New Year's because it's so sparkly. But of course I am going to put on my snow globe, which is like the entire point of this video. So I chose out a couple other silver charms that I thought matched it, and luckily the theme of the snow globe is just kind of like silver and sparkly, so that wasn't hard to do. And I'm just going to start out with the base of the snow globe, and I'm using my Ivy Fix Gel to put it on just like I would put on any charm. Because I'm not really looking to save the base of the snow globe. All my hard work went into the globe itself. So I want to be able to take the globe itself off and save it to look at it in the future. But if I ever want to reuse it, I can just quickly remake this little base thing, since I'm probably going to have to just chop it off my nail in order to remove the set when I'm finished with it. And it works so perfectly, and it actually stays on there so strong. Like that, like it is not coming off unless I really like whip my hand like really hard. So I was really happy with that. Like those magnets are pretty strong, and they'll definitely be linked down in the description box for you guys if you're interested. But yeah, so now I'm just using the Ivy Fix Gel to put on the rest of the charms. I'm just doing one silver charm per nail. And now they are ready for the final top coat. Finally. So I actually kind of forgot that I had this new top coat also from MelodySusie's plant-based sweet scented gel collection, and it's also in that 16 milliliter size, which is really nice with that cool bottle design. I was really curious to see if this one was going to work as well as the other MelodySusie top coat that you guys have seen me use, which I really, really love. It's so glossy, not runny at all. It's so easy to apply. And thankfully, this one was equally as good. Honestly, I couldn't find anything that was worse, or really not anything particularly better about the formula that I noticed, but it was really good, very glossy, did not run. It was so easy to put really close to my cuticle and not have it just start like seeping and flooding into the cuticle and sidewalls. The only complaint that I have about this top coat is that it smells kind of weird. I don't know if it's supposed to have like that same sweet scent as the other ones in this collection, but to me, this one smelled really weird. I don't know if it's just me and like my personal preference, but if you guys have tried this one as well, definitely let me know if you think it smells weird. But like that's not a big deal. It's just something I thought I'd mention. For most of the charms, I'm also top coating the silver and the rhinestone parts, but trying to remove most of the top coat from the rhinestones themselves. You do want to top coat the silver parts though, because they can start getting rusty and wearing the color off over time. So I always like to make sure to top coat those. Top coating your charms also will help things from not popping off and getting like stuck in your hair and snagging on things. And just like that, this set is complete. Voila! I love this snow globe so much. This is like probably the coolest little charm that I've ever put on my nails. I can't believe I like made it from scratch. I'm so happy with it. You guys definitely have to let me know what you think about it. If you think it's better than my last attempt at doing a snow globe, definitely let me know any tips that you have for doing it better in the future. I always learn a lot of great things from you guys and I really appreciate it. I'm also having so much fun fidgeting with it on my nail. I was really sad that all the audio was gone because like the sound of it magnetizing on and off of my nail is so satisfying. But yeah, that is it for today's video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it and I hope that it was okay just with the voiceover towards the end. Let me know also if you have like a strong preference for voiceovers versus not voiceovers. I prefer to like talk while I'm filming. I feel like I'm more like there with you guys, like in the present doing it. But I also don't have a problem watching other people do voiceovers. Like I enjoy watching voiceovers. So yeah, I don't know. Let me know if you have any specific thoughts on that. But thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Also, thank you to MelodySusie for sponsoring it. I really appreciate all of their continued support. I hope that you guys are having the most amazing day, night, week, life. Sleep well if you're going to sleep, cutie. Have a very, very Merry Christmas. There is one more video actually that I'm trying to get out before Christmas season ends, so look out for that. I'm going to be working very hard at the beginning of this week. Merry Christmas, and as little Tiny Tim says, God bless us, everyone. Bye, cutie. Mwah.